Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, exploring the intricacies of human civilization and the fascinating stories that have shaped our world. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of a captivating tale, one that will transport us to the majestic land of ancient Egypt, a realm of pharaohs, pyramids, and intrigue. Our subject is Cleopatra's Egypt, a period of unparalleled grandeur and tumultuous transformation. We must first look to the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was established by Alexander the Great's general, Ptolemy I Soter, in 323 BCE. Following Alexander's conquest of Egypt, Ptolemy I Soter declared himself king, marking the beginning of a new era in Egyptian history. The Ptolemies were Macedonian Greeks, and as such, they brought with them their own distinct culture, language, and customs. Despite this, they also embraced many of the traditional Egyptian practices, often blending their Greek heritage with the existing Egyptian way of life. This unique fusion would have a profound impact on the development of Egypt during this period. As we move forward in time, we find ourselves in the midst of the 2nd century BCE, an era marked by significant turmoil and upheaval within the Ptolemaic dynasty. The reign of Ptolemy V Ephesus, who ascended to the throne at just 5 years old, was plagued by internal power struggles and external threats from neighboring kingdoms. One of the most pivotal events during this period was the invasion of Egypt by the Seleucid king, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, in 170 BCE. This incursion would have far-reaching consequences for Egypt, as it led to a significant weakening of the Ptolemaic dynasty and created an environment ripe for further conflict and instability. It is against this backdrop that we find the emergence of Ptolemy XII Auletes, Cleopatra's father, who ascended to the throne in 80 BCE. His reign was marked by controversy, corruption, and a deep-seated desire to maintain power at all costs. The Egyptian economy was in shambles, and the once mighty Nile River, which had long been the lifeblood of the kingdom, was now facing significant challenges due to a combination of natural disasters and human neglect. As Ptolemy XII Auletes navigated the treacherous waters of Egyptian politics, he found himself increasingly at odds with his own people. The priests, who had long wielded significant influence in Egyptian society, were growing restless under his rule, and the population was becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the perceived corruption and mismanagement of the kingdom. It is within this complex web of intrigue, corruption, and power struggles that we find the young Cleopatra, born around 69 BCE. Her early life would be marked by the tumultuous events unfolding around her, as she watched her father's reign become increasingly precarious. As the young Cleopatra navigated the treacherous landscape of her father's court, she was surrounded by the intrigue and corruption that had become hallmark of Ptolemy XII Auletes' reign. The year 51 BCE marked a significant turning point, as Ptolemy XII Auletes passed away, leaving behind a power vacuum that would be filled by his son Ptolemy XIII and Cleopatra, who was just 18 years old at the time. According to the provisions of her father's will, Cleopatra and her brother were to rule jointly, with the Roman Empire serving as the guardian of their sovereignty. The early years of Cleopatra's reign were marked by a series of challenges, including a severe drought that had a devastating impact on the Nile River, which in turn affected the entire Egyptian economy. The priests, who had long been dissatisfied with Ptolemy XII Auletes' rule, continued to exert their influence, often at the expense of the young monarchs. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra and her brother found themselves at odds as they vied for control of the kingdom. This bitter struggle would ultimately lead to a civil war, with Cleopatra emerging victorious in 47 BCE. It was during this tumultuous period that Cleopatra first encountered Julius Caesar, the Roman general, who had arrived in Egypt in pursuit of his rival Pompey. According to legend, Cleopatra had herself smuggled into Caesar's chambers, where she famously charmed him with her intelligence and beauty. This fateful meeting would have far-reaching consequences for both Cleopatra and the Roman Empire, as Caesar soon became a key ally and lover to the young queen. The year 46 BCE marked a significant milestone in Cleopatra's reign as she traveled to Rome, where she was received with great fanfare by Julius Caesar. This visit was a calculated move, designed to cement her alliance with the Roman leader and secure his support for her rule. As she navigated the complexities of Roman politics, Cleopatra proved herself to be a shrewd and capable diplomat, earning the admiration of many, including the famous Roman statesman Cicero. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE sent shockwaves throughout the ancient world, and Cleopatra was forced to navigate a treacherous new landscape. She soon found herself drawn into a bitter struggle for power, as various factions vied for control of the Roman Empire. It was during this period that she met Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most powerful generals, who would become her lover and ally in the years to come. As the years passed, Cleopatra's relationship with Mark Antony deepened, and the two became inseparable. Together, they formed a powerful alliance, one that would challenge the authority of Octavian, later known as Augustus Caesar, who had emerged as a rival claimant to the Roman throne. The Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE marked a significant turning point, as Mark Antony and his allies emerged victorious against the forces of Brutus and Cassius. The years that followed were marked by a series of challenges, including a devastating famine that struck Egypt in 41 BCE and a costly war with the Nabateans, who had long been a thorn in the side of the Egyptian kingdom. Despite these setbacks, Cleopatra continued to prove herself as a capable and resourceful leader, earning the admiration of her people and the respect of her enemies. As the struggle for power in the Roman Empire intensified, Cleopatra found herself drawn into a desperate bid for survival. The Battle of Actium in 31 BCE marked a decisive turning point as the forces of Octavian defeated those of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. The young queen, realizing that all was lost, took drastic action, famously allowing a poisonous asp to bite her rather than submit to the mercy of her conquerors. As the asp's venom coursed through her veins, Cleopatra's legendary life slipped away, marking the end of an era for Egypt and the Ptolemaic dynasty. Octavian, now Augustus Caesar, would go on to rule Egypt with an iron fist, exploiting its vast resources and incorporating its rich cultural heritage into the Roman Empire. The years that followed Cleopatra's death saw a significant transformation in Egypt, as the Romans imposed their own administrative systems, taxation policies, and architectural styles. The great city of Alexandria, once a beacon of learning and culture, continued to thrive, but its intellectual and artistic vibrancy were now tempered by the harsh realities of Roman rule. As the Roman historian Tacitus would later observe, Egypt, once a kingdom, was now a province, and its people, once masters of their own destiny, were now subjects of the Roman Empire. Despite the passing of centuries, Cleopatra's Egypt continues to fascinate and inspire us today. The allure of her legendary beauty, intelligence, and cunning has captivated artists, writers, and filmmakers for generations, from Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra to the iconic cinematic portrayals by Elizabeth Taylor and Vivien Leigh. The cultural, scientific, and philosophical achievements of the Ptolemaic era continue to influence us today, from the preservation of classical knowledge to the development of modern astronomy and mathematics. As the Greek philosopher Plutarch once said, "The Egyptians were a people who loved wisdom, and their love of wisdom was not limited to the pursuit of knowledge, but extended to the cultivation of virtue and the pursuit of happiness." That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.